Good morning, fifth graders. Hope you're having a good day. Today's Tuesday, April 28th, 2020. I would like for you to open up Kid Blog and Ed Puzzle. Now, in today's lesson, there are 8 videos. Why, Miss Lofton, are you giving us so many videos? I'm glad you asked. You guys have got to get a good visual of this assignment. I need for it to make sense to you. So, open up the Ed Puzzle and open up your Kid Blog. And these videos are going to help give you some clarity. Plus, I want you to have more resources than just me. So, our topic today is the Pilgrims and Plymouth Colony. This is in 1620. The first video I want you to look at is the Mayflower. This is your introduction video. It's 1 minute 8 seconds long. So go look at the video about the Mayflower. This is our beginning. In 1620, for 102 English passengers packed into the Mayflower, there was good news and bad news. After 2 stormy months at sea, they were nearing land. Unfortunately, that land was not in the northern part of Virginia, which had been their goal. Now, I want you to keep in mind this map is not from 1620. It's only showing you where Virginia is in red. You see, it has all the states on here. Remember, in 1620, there were no states. All of this was Native American land. Different tribes lived in different areas of the Americas because it was not the United States of America in 1620 as well. But I just have this map on here to show you where they were going and where they thought they were going. They thought they were going to the red in Virginia. Now go to the puzzle and look at your second video. This video explains the Mayflower. Now we know they came over on the Mayflower. This video shows and talks about the Mayflower. And so pause the video. After you watch this video, come back to your lesson. Storms had blown the ship further north. Now they were weary. What does weary mean? Correct. Weary mean they were tired and short of supplies. Winter was coming, so they decided to come ashore in New England. Now the arrow shows you where they were supposed to be going, but at the top in the red, it shows you where they ended up. So the storms had blown them more north. They did not end up where they thought they were going to end up. And where is it that they thought they were going to end up? Correct. They thought they would end up in Jamestown because remember, Jamestown was the first permanent colony. So that's where they were headed. But that's not where they ended up. They ended up in New England. The Jamestown settlers hoped to find riches in North America or earn money from products sent to England. The Mayflower settlers expected to earn money, but they had a more important goal. They wanted freedom to practice their religion. They belonged to a group known as the Separatists. Now, turn and talk to yourself. What was the difference between the goals of the Jamestown settlers and the Mayflower settlers? Because think about what we talked about in our last session. We talked about the Jamestown settlers, their reasoning for coming to the Americas. Now, here are the Mayflower settlers. They have different goals. Think about why those goals are different. They wanted to separate or break off from the Church of England. At that time, all the people in England had to belong to that church. The separatists wanted religious independence from the Catholic Church. So the Jamestown settlers, they were more into the 3 G's. God is one of them from religion, but they was looking more like for gold, for prestige, for power, etc. The separatists wasn't. Their goal for leaving was a religious reason. Because the separatists set off to build a new religious life in America, they later became known as pilgrims. A pilgrim is a person who goes on a religious journey. So that's how they got their name pilgrim. They were separatists, but they were called pilgrims because they went on a religious journey. Now go to Edpuzzle and look at your third video and then come back to my PowerPoint. So hopefully that that video gave you some good, more clarity, more information about the Pilgrims. Now let's look at the Mayflower, Pilgrim, and Native Americans. So let's put all of it together. Go look at your fourth video. Look for this video and come back to my PowerPoint. What do you observe? Make some observations. Now, what is the first thing that stands out to you? The first time I saw this picture, the first thing I noticed was the dog. Because prior to this, we really don't see any animals prior to this. But do you think this was a pet or do you think this was a working animal? Correct. This would be a working animal. It wouldn't be a pet like I saw. I remember Alice and Eileen. It was so cute when we was in Zoom and they had the pet in their lap. That was so cute. But that's not what this dog would be for. This dog would be a working animal. And we also notice that, and I observe, I see they're interacting together. They're working together as a team. So let's do a quick check for understanding. Go to your Edpuzzle and look at this fifth video. And it's a little longer than the other ones, but it explains the pilgrims very well. Remember, pilgrim means they're going on a journey. So pause this video and then come back after you have watched that video. Go to Edpuzzle again. And this time I want you to watch about the real first Thanksgiving. Now, I talked about this in class. I talked about why the Native Americans do not celebrate Thanksgiving. So we've had this conversation before. Now I want you to get a visual and hear it from the actual Native Americans. So go watch this video. It's actually pretty interesting. Now we've talked about the Pilgrims. Now let's talk about the Puritans. So go to Edpuzzle and watch this 1 minute, 13-second video to give you an introduction to the Puritans. Remember, I told you you have a lot of videos today, but videos are very resourceful because it can take you places that text can't. In 1630, a group of 700 English sailors left their homes to sail to New England. They established a new colony north of the Plymouth called the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Its founders left England so they could practice their religions freely. They were known as Puritans. So, what is the difference between the Puritans and the Pilgrims? I'm glad you asked. Despite their similarities and the fact that they arrived in America within a decade, how long is a decade? I hope you're saying 10 of each other. There are several different. So within 10-year span, there are several differences between the Puritans and the Pilgrim. Number one, while the Pilgrim was separatists, the Puritans were non-separating Congregationalists. They believed the Church of England was the one true church, and they were loyal to England, but not in the way they worship. They believed that New England worship and practice would be an example for Old England and the world. The Pilgrims were few in number. 102 sailed across the Atlantic on the Mayflower. About half died the first winter. The Puritans came by the thousands. Indeed, 40 to 50,000 eventually came. By 1776, 75% of the American population were Puritan roots. The Pilgrims came earlier in 1620. The Puritans came later, 1629 and 1630. So, who came to the Americas first? Correct, the Pilgrims. And by the way, what does pilgrim mean? It means a religious journey. The Pilgrims, for the most part, were of the poor class. Not all of the Mayflowers came for religious reason. Some came from better economic opportunities in the New World. The Puritans were primarily upper middle class. So remember, we're talking about two different sets of people. We're talking about the Pilgrims, who are more of the poor class and who came first, They came for religious reasons. And then we have the Puritans. They also came for religious reasons, but they were more primarily upper middle class. They was not as poor as the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims were not terribly educated, while the Puritans typically were. So meaning the Puritans didn't had more education than the Pilgrims. So if I take that fact by itself, what do you think was the relationship between the Pilgrims and the Puritans? Who do you think thought they were a better people? Yeah, I would think the Puritans because they thought because they had more education that they would be better, they would have more knowledge, they could do better than the Pilgrims. And also keep in mind, there were more Puritans who came than the Pilgrims. There are very few Pilgrims who came based on the amount of, or compared to the amount of Puritans that came over. So, what I would like for you to do is to go to Kid Blog. I want you to name one fact you learned about the Puritans. I want you to name one fact you learned about the Pilgrims. Name one way the Puritans and the Pilgrims are the same. Name one way the Puritans and the Pilgrims are different. And then number 5, you looked at a lot of videos today. It should have been about 8 of them. Name the title of the video that helped you to better understand today's lesson and state why that video was helpful. Now, do not put in number 5, none didn't help me, because that wouldn't be true. So figure out which one gave you more information, told you things you did not already know, and how was that helpful to you. You're going to put those facts on Kid Blog. And the name of it is The Puritans and the Pilgrim. Now, I have an online activity for you after you complete your Kid Blog. If you click on this link, it's very interesting. It's going to talk about the first Thanksgiving, but remember, you've seen the video about the real first Thanksgiving. But this is the one that I want you to I want you to concentrate on. Now, you can look at everything that's in here, but I really want to make sure that you concentrate on this particular tribe. Okay? So that's your assignment after you finish Kid Blog. So you have a terrific Tuesday. And remember, if you have any questions, you can email me or you can send me a message on Edmodo, or your parent can send me a message on Class Dojo. Okay? Have a terrific Tuesday, 5th graders.